So a couple other things to get to here before we get to Big Dirt, not Big Dirt. And we'll get to some corrections from our guy Victor. Um,
And our brackets.
oh yes, and we got to update our brackets because we're in the Elite Eight
We're
now.
about to we're about to be we got I mean, if you're listening to this in the next couple hours, you still have like I think 8 hours left to vote on a few of the matchups, but they seem pretty set.
Okay, they're pretty locked in. All right, very good. So, and you go to my Twitter feed at Zaslow Show. Tomorrow night, I'll be opening up the Elite Eight. And then by the end of the week, by the middle of the week, we'll have the Final Four. And then we'll have the championship on the weekend during WrestleMania. It's perfect timing. Excellent job, Joey. All right. So, a couple other things here. Charlotte Flair. Last week, the build-up got hot. Charlotte and Rhea, you had a great brawl. The security trying to separate them. Rhea was nasty as hell. It was great. This week was, all right, Charlotte is going to cut a promo. And there's no two ways about it. Charlotte cut a heel promo. And I told you, Joey, I love Charlotte. I think she's the greatest women's wrestler of all time, and it's not particularly close. And even with saying that, she stinks as a babyface. Now, maybe she stinks as a babyface because she's so amazing as a heel. That's fine. And I always thought it was problematic to have her as the babyface in this matchup here. And not just because, look, Rhea's not turning babyface anytime soon. They're building her up into this monster heel, and that's fine, and that's great. It's the way that it should be. But they've been trying to make Charlotte this babyface in this matchup, and to me, it doesn't work. The crowd wants to boo Charlotte. The crowd wants to hate Charlotte. Charlotte's great at being hated. And I don't know if this was the plan. I kind of feel like it was. I would guess, Joey, that Charlotte kind of went off script in this because this has happened to her before. This has happened where sometimes I'm not going to say she gets shook by the crowd because she's. I mean, look, she's incredible. She's not going to get shook by anything. But I do think sometimes the crowd will distract her and she will pivot. And I think that's kind of what happened there. And I don't know if she did it on purpose, but I think the crowd made her do this where she got super distracted by the crowd with the what chance that she addressed them, giving her the what chance. And then all of a sudden, we're talking about everything that you have thrown at me and you've thrown at me, I've overcome. And like, she cut a heel promo there, almost from start to finish. She was clearly agitated with the crowd. And my guess is that was not the direction that they were going in. And she pivoted mid promo. What do you think?
I think that's probably part of it. Yeah. I mean, I think it was in the beginning, it was a face promo, but she's not good at face promos. And I think almost instantly, as soon as she started talking, I was like, oh my God, this is the most scripted promo I think I've ever heard her cut. Like the beats were, it was so written. It was overly written. I didn't get where I got in this business by insecurities, by nepotism. Like you could just tell like how it was overly prepped. And she was saying the same words over and over. So of course, when you cut a promo where you're saying the same few words over and over, you're going to get the what chance. You're going to get the what chance. She also contradicted herself a couple times where she's like, I didn't get here from insecurities, but of course I'm insecure. Like she's like doing, I was just like, what's she talking about? First of all, second of all, yes, either she couldn't handle it and she got rattled and she just went heel, or she felt it being the star that she is. Like they're never going to like me. So it's time. And we just got to do it. And then the other thing I considered was maybe WWE, being the smart bookers that we think they are now, they feel that no matter what happens, when Rhea wins at Mania, the crowd's going to cheer. So maybe they're just preparing for the fact that Charlotte is the heel in this. And it's like, all right, we tried. We haven't built Rhea into...
They're both heels. They're both then. It's not like Rhea's not going to come out babyface. They're both heel. Like, let the crowd cheer for Rhea. That's fine, but they're both heels.
Yeah, but we talked about but again, like, but maybe Rhea does become a face. Like maybe she does. So Now in back-to-back weeks. So this week you have Charlotte cutting a heel promo, essentially. Mm-hmm. Last week you had Rhea cutting a face promo, talking about how I need to be a champion. I need to be respected. That's not heel shit. That is what baby faces say. If she was a heel, she'd say, I don't give a damn what this crowd thinks. I don't give a damn about what you think. I don't even give a damn about that title. I just want to beat your ass. But no, she was like, I need to be respected. I've worked hard. That's what baby faces say. And then Charlotte's out here saying, can you guys let me talk? Respect me. Like that's what a heel says. So maybe they are turning things around because they see like the crowd is behind Rhea and they're never going to be behind Charlotte as a face.
Never.
But I do think you're right that there's a very good chance that Charlotte recognized it in the ring and just flipped it herself.
She gets rattled sometimes by that crowd, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the what chant thing, you know, it's very possible that she felt it in the moment and was like, yeah, you know what? It's not happening. So it's time. It's time to show them who I really am. And then it leaves a lot, it leaves a lot of possibilities for what can happen in the match too. How they act and how they book it, because there's a lot of things that are possible. And by the way, is anyone surprised that Charlotte's a great heel? Like, I know that everyone loves Ric Flair. I know everyone loves Ric Flair. He's the greatest. Like he's everyone's favorite. Ric Flair was a heel his whole career. Like he's one of the greatest heels, if not the greatest heel in the history of professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. So is anybody surprised that Ric Flair's daughter is the greatest heel ever? Like it's in her blood. This is what she does. So let her do what she does.
So lastly here, before we get to some other fun stuff, Monday night ends with Solo being told by Cody, because Solo's standing there mean mugging him. Mm. And Cody tells him, you're not ready. You're not ready.
You're not ready.
You're not ready for this. You're not ready for any of this. And Solo gets super kicked to the head. And as he's about to fight back, Roman jumps in the ring and pulls Solo out. Nuh-uh. Which could in the future build to some tension.
Did you see the video that people, like, there was Twitter video from the crowd, like when Solo and Roman were walking out?
Was there tension?
Roman was screaming in his face, while they were walking out, and Solo had his head down like a child.
Yeah, see, there could be some tension, in the future from that moment.
Oh, that's certainly what that was. I mean, I don't know if it was like people are going to record it and we know it'll get out, but like that's what that had to be what it was. Roman was going off. Like you would almost think he was really mad about something, which I don't think he was. But man, Solo had his head down. He looked disappointed, and Roman was just chewing him out while they were walking back.
So that leads to like the final roadblock to WrestleMania, which we found out a couple nights ago is now going to take place tomorrow night, where it's going to be Cody versus Solo. Solo has not lost on television. And that's all that matters. Solo has not lost on television. So where do we go from here? That's going to be the main event tomorrow night, which is going to be awesome. Where do we go from here? What happens in this match? Because it obviously has to set up the weekend. Does Cody pin the first loss on Solo right before we get to WrestleMania? Does Solo beat Cody? And it could turn into a thing where Cody then beats Roman, and Solo's like, I beat him. That could be a whole dynamic between Solo and Roman. I don't know. Does that happen? Or do we get what I think is going to wind up happening is we get a good old Dusty finish, and you just get a whole lot of shenanigans at the end. And they're finally going to beat, the bloodline is finally going to beat the shit out of Cody. Roman, for the first time, will put his hands on Cody heading into WrestleMania and leaving Cody, a mess in the ring until they meet each other over the weekend. That's what I think is going to happen.
Well, so two things. Yes, I think there's going to be shenanigans. Like, there's no way this is just a clean ending to this match. They did announce that Roman and Cody will go face-to-face Friday on SmackDown. So there's that. But my instinct is that Roman comes out on Raw and beats the shit out of Cody. Like mid-match. Just Just does it. And which also continues to build the tension with Solo, because it's Solo being like, you don't think I'm good enough to do this on my own type of thing. Like, so that continues to build the tension there. But I just don't see us. First of all, I think it'd be dumb to have them just have Solo lose right now, but you can't have Cody lose going into Mania. So the only way is like interference. I don't think it's the Usos, right? Because the Usos have their own thing going on. They're not really focused on Solo right now. So, but Roman's not announced for Raw, so that would be pretty surprising to see it go down like that.
What's Solo's role going to be at WrestleMania? Is he going to be in Roman's corner? Roman doesn't usually have the bloodline in his corner for any of these main events at pay-per-views. It's usually just Heyman who's what's Solo going to be doing at WrestleMania?
Maybe he's just not on the show. I don't know. Maybe he's with the Usos for their match. Yeah, it's a good question. Maybe Roman tells Solo to take the night off because he couldn't get it done against Cody. I don't know, but ultimately I think the writing is on the wall here that we are headed down a path where the bloodline is getting ready to implode. Maybe not tomorrow, but like things are happening here. Now you got Solo getting a little tension. We obviously know there's tension with Jay. There's even probably a little tension with Jimmy because of the way Jay's been treated. Like things are happening here. The wheels seem to have been put in motion, and the Solo thing just adds to it, which is good. Which is also why I've fully talked myself into Cody Rhodes winning at WrestleMania.
You have
fully. I mean, I
think Cody's going to win, but I'm rooting for Roman. I'm rooting for the Roman because I want the story to end with Roman and Jay.
It still will. I think it still does. I mean, the story. I don't know. Yeah, you mean the story ending as in Jay wins the title? Yeah. That's the end of the story. But does the bloodline? But the bloodline doesn't really die if Jay wins the title. It's just Roman's not the head of the table.
I mean, there's a lot that could happen there. The bloodline could totally die if that's what happens. I think the end.
Here's what I just think.
I want Roman to win. I don't want this to end. Like I want all. I don't think it to continue.
But I don't think it ends. I think there's so much with just those four guys in the bloodline going that they can do. I mean, you still have to do Jay and Roman. You still have to do Solo and Roman. That's a year. That's a year of things. And it doesn't have to have the title to be interesting. And by the way, I think everyone's under this assumption that Sami and KO are just winning the titles. If the Usos keep their titles and Roman loses his titles, think about that, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
The whole bloodline.
We held the bar end.
Right. The whole bloodline. Remember, we had the whole promo. Roman, I think it was a backstage segment where he basically said, like, if we don't have these titles, if we're not champions, like if we don't have all the gold, then what even is the bloodline? If we don't have all this, right? Usos retain and Roman doesn't. Now, who's really holding up the bloodline? It's not him anymore. He doesn't have any.
But we know the Usos are not retaining.
I don't know. I don't know because, I mean, and also like the Sami Zayn KO stuff is great, but also KO's the way he's talking. He has some weird comments and some weird mannerisms in his interactions.
Is KO going to turn on Sami because that's what KO always does?
Not necessarily at Mania, but I don't necessarily see this being like
that's what KO does,
right? And I don't see this being a long-term tag team. I just don't. So, and the whole thing in the KO show.
Are we eventually going to get SummerSlam, KO, Sami?
I mean, we could. I think we could. I could easily see. I think it's so obvious that KO and Sami are going to win that I could see the Usos winning. By the way, for Big Dirt, I have odds. And the odds seem to think that there's going to be a lot of title changes at Mania. They can't all change hands. So, right? Somebody's got to retain their. I mean, I guess they could all change it. I just don't see it happening. But Cody, it's been a long time since WWE had a baby face that they can put the company on the baby face's back, and people are not going to just get sick of them right away.
Well, and the type of baby face that could do all the TV shows and all the morning talk shows and
right, that's what
really
I mean. Yeah.
rep the company.
And in this era, he is supported by the kid fans, the WWE fans, but he's also supported by the internet marks because they love that he went and he did his own thing and he started his own company, and then he left that company and he came. Like, everybody loves Cody right now.
Well, and also Cena, what was it, a couple weeks ago? Cena passed the torch to him, man. They were standing on that stage at Raw, and Cena held up Cody's arm and Cena passed the torch to him. He's new Cena. Yeah. He is.
And as good as the Bloodline is, and they're incredible. They're maybe one of the top 5 things that's ever been done in WWE when we look back on it, this run. There are so many good possible directions to go with Cody right now as a face champion. I mean, you could come out of this, you could just run it back, which I don't think would happen right away if he wins. But you could come out of this. I mean, you could have him go. Would you be mad if Monday Cody comes out Raw after Mania as champion, and then the Imperium music hits and we get Gunther? I mean,
because Gunther lost the night.
What before. Or didn't? I don't know. Just whatever. He's just that good. But like, there's so many. He still needs to run it back with Seth Rollins. Hey, Randy Orton comes back as a heel. Randy Orton and Cody have a lot of history.
Yeah, I like that.
Finn Balor beats Edge. Cody and Finn Balor have a ton of New Japan history. AJ Styles has been gone for a long time. He's a great heel. They have a ton of New Japan history.
Yeah, there's a lot of good. Well, and everything that you're saying right now, that's why Cody's going to win on Sunday night.
By the way, Logan Paul. If Logan Paul beats Seth Rollins, what else is there for him to do? I mean, he's not going to fight Roman again, so you could have Logan Paul in a WWE title picture. Like, there's so much stuff that you could do with Cody right now that, sure, you could do some of it with Roman, but a lot of it's been done, and Roman's a heel. Mm-hmm. So, and a lot of those guys are heels. So there's a lot of ways to go with Cody. That's why I've mainly, and like you said, he can do all the TV spots, and he looks like a champion.
Really good representative for the company. Really good.
It feels like it's time, and the Bloodline now has so many things that they can do just within themselves, with Roman losing his mind, and if he loses the belt, that I see. It's not my official prediction. That's for the prediction show. But I've talked myself into it pretty hardcore.
We'll do a prediction show coming up later in the week. All right. Maybe it'll be Thursday. We'll do it later in the week, so you'll have a couple days to digest it before WrestleMania gets going. Speaking of which, let's update our It's Still Real to Me Ultimate WrestleMania Moment Bracket Challenge. You go to @Zaslow Show. You guys have been voting for the last couple weeks. Tomorrow, I will post these Elite 8 matchups. Why don't you give me a rundown here of where we're at? Go ahead.
All right, so we still have a few hours out left on some of these, but they're pretty. I don't think it's going to change a ton on this Sunday. There would have to be some pretty big sways. So as of right now, probably in the next 8 hours, these will be our Elite 8 matchups.
Let's hear it.
1 seed, Hulk Hogan slams Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3 versus 4 seed, Rock Hogan at WrestleMania 28.
Wow. Okay.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
That's good.
I think Rock Hogan's going to win. Just based off of the trends that I'm seeing, I think that might win, but we'll see. The next Elite 8 matchup will be Shawn Michaels retiring Ric Flair.
What seed?
3 seed.
Okay.
At WrestleMania 24 versus 10 seed, which I think determined was under-seeded, Macho Man versus Ricky Steamboat at WrestleMania.
Yes. That's a great matchup too. Okay.
2 seed, Stone Cold versus The Rock at WrestleMania 17, which I think is going to win this whole thing based on how much it's dominated all of its matchups, but we'll see. Versus 6 seed, also Stone Cold versus Bret Hart submission match at WrestleMania 13.
Wow. Okay.
People love some Stone Cold, which is not surprising. And then the last matchup, also the biggest upset, I think, but maybe I seeded it wrong. 9 seed. This is our FAU of the tournament, by the way. Once in a lifetime, Rock versus Cena at WrestleMania 28 beat Brock Lesnar, ending the streak. 9 seed beat the 1 seed. Wow. Brock Lesnar beating the streak.
Was it close?
I think it was close, but not as close as I would have anticipated. So interesting. I don't agree with it. I think you're all insane. It was a great moment, but Brock beating Undertaker is wild. And also, it wasn't once in a lifetime. It happened the next year. Versus 4 seed, Tyson turning on DX. The Stone Cold era begins at WrestleMania 14.
Okay. All right. We got a great Elite Eight then.
Yeah. 3 Stone Colds. So Stone Cold's going to be in the finals, it looks like.
Yes.
So we're going to probably have a Stone Cold versus Stone Cold Final Four happening. But Rock Hogan versus Andre Hogan is an interesting one. Because
all right, say them again so that I could vote here, because I can't vote because I'm putting them all, so it doesn't allow me. So I'll give my votes right now. Tommy, I'll give my votes.
1 seed, Hulk Hogan, the one overall seed.
Yep.
Based on my seeding, Hogan slams Andre at WrestleMania 3 versus 4 seed Rock versus Hogan at WrestleMania 28.
Yeah, I'm going Rock versus Hogan.
Okay. All right. 3 seed
WrestleMania 18, not 28.
Sorry, 18. Yes. 3 seed Shawn Michaels retires Ric Flair at 24 versus 10 seed Macho Man versus Ricky Steamboat.
Macho Man Ricky Steamboat's my all-time favorite. I'll go with that.
Okay. So that would be a 10 seed versus a 4 seed in the final 4.
Okay.
And then we have the 2 seed Stone Cold versus The Rock at WrestleMania 17 versus 6 seed Bret Hart versus Stone Cold submission match at WrestleMania 13.
I go Stone Cold Bret Hart.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
And then 9 seed once in a lifetime Rock versus Cena versus 4 seed Tyson turns on DX.
Oof. I'll go the beginning of the Stone Cold era.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be right. I think Rock Hogan's going to beat Andre. It's going to be a close one, but I think it's going to win. I think people love the HBK Ric Flair moment. People love that moment. I think that's going to win.
It's deserved. I know.
I think Stone Cold Rock at WrestleMania 17 will beat the submission match in a landslide. Not that you're wrong, but I just, based on what I'm seeing from the voting, and I think Tyson turning on DX will beat Once in a Lifetime. Although Once in a Lifetime beat Brock ending the streak. So I don't know. That maybe that was a much bigger moment than I thought, but I guess I figured it lost some steam because the match happened again the next year, and it wasn't Once in a Lifetime.
All right. Good stuff. So make sure starting tomorrow, I'll post those Elite Eight matchups at Zaslow Show. You can go and vote. Let's do some corrections here from our man, Victor. Our boy Victor sends in corrections. He's a great listener. He sends in corrections when we get stuff wrong every week. So we go back to last week's show. And he starts off here by saying, Joey, remember we were talking about Ray being the first active participant who is being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And for a moment, you were wondering if Batista was in, and which of course he is not. All right.
I was wondering if Batista.
No, you were wondering because of Evolution. Remember, if Evolution's already in Hall of Fame. And so he says here, Joey, how the hell can Evolution be in the Hall of Fame if Batista still hasn't accepted the invite? But most importantly, we know Randy Orton is not also a Hall of Famer yet. And that's a good point. We didn't think about that. We would know, like, Randy Orton's an active guy right now. If Evolution were in the Hall of Fame, Randy Orton would be an active Hall of Famer. Sure. But it sounds like Ray is going to be the first one. So Victor's right about that. We'd be calling both of them Hall of Famers already. Now, I was wondering, is the Hall of Fame ceremony Thursday night, the night before SmackDown? Here's the Hall of Fame information. The ceremony is March 31st. So that's Friday night at Crypto.com, the night preceding night 1, WrestleMania 39. It is right after SmackDown. It's going to air live at 10 p.m. on Peacock. And, as Victor mentions here, it's prime time for Dom to mess with Ray, but we already know that the match has already been set up. He could still mess with him. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But
that's a weird time for it. Hall of Fame is really long.
They started that last year, I believe.
Yeah, that's a tough time. That's a tough time.
But remember, last year it was like you knew you were going to get the audience because that was Undertaker's big moments, remember?
Sure.
So we'll see what happens this year if they get that audience. We were talking about, has Sammy had huge moments every month since when, right?
Oh, like when did the first pop moment start? Yeah.
So he says here, Sammy's big moment started with him saying Jay isn't very oozy in the last SmackDown of October. And so that's what Victor is dating it back to. Okay. Now we're wondering here, what did Rhea Ripley say? The championship I want, hell, I need it. I don't only want to be a star. I need to be a star. after WrestleMania, once all is said and dusted, you're going to learn to call me champion and you're going to learn to fear me. So that was her promo.
See, that's I get the fear me is heelish, but the rest of it is very babyface-ish.
He's making an excuse here for himself. Victor is saying he simply cannot keep up with how many times Joey blows the names, that if you did call Judgment Day Bloodline again, which you cop to, he missed it because his brain is just auto-correcting, every time that you are missing it.
Dude, I don't blame you because for some reason I can't stop it.
Now, I defended myself last week when Victor said NXT is taped at the Performance Center, not the Capital One Center. I said, no. I may not have the name right, but it's Capital something. They have renamed it.
Right.
And Victor says here, Zaslow, you're right, but you're wrong. It's called the Capital Wrestling Center, but they rarely call it that anymore. It's still filmed at the PC. Once in a while, they call it the CWC. And he says he actually went back and watched a few NXT episodes in the beginning where they would normally announce that, and they don't do that anymore. So there you have it. Okay. Excellent job there by Victor, passing us a few corrections. Joey, let's do some big dirt, not big dirt here. Come on.
All right. We didn't talk about any AEW stuff this week, but I have one. Let me see. I got one AEW story here.
Oh, right.
Have you seen? And it's AEW adjacent, I guess, because the guy is not currently active. Did you see the stuff that went on with CM Punk this week?
Yes.
So I'll just read it. I'm going to read through it very quickly. But the CM Punk shit never stops. And I guess Meltzer on his show or somebody, they mentioned that he had a match with Moxley where he wasn't totally cleared or he was still injured or something like that. So Punk puts out this long Instagram post that he deleted pretty quickly afterwards, but it says, "Sigh, I wasn't cleared to come back to wrestle yet. Then plan was to wrestle at the pay-per-view. I sat and listened to Moxley's Rocky 3 idea. I explained how I'd never seen a Rocky movie. Weird. And I thought that idea sucked, but if the boss wanted to do it, whatever. He said he wouldn't lose to me. I'd never experienced someone refusing to lose to me. I just laughed. I asked Tony if this is what he wanted. He said yes, he's the boss. I said okay, but I need to be cleared. They kept saying I could just be a squash, so I didn't need to be cleared. I scoffed at that. My health is more important. Meltzer is a liar. Jericho is a liar and a stooge. There are plans, but plans always change, but I'll never put a company above my health again."
Yeah, I don't like it.
And now they're saying maybe he might be back, but Jericho, I think there's obviously heat with him and Moxley and Jericho. Big dirt, not big dirt. Punk.
I'm going big dirt. I'm going big dirt, and I don't like it. I don't like any of it. I know it became a thing when Bret Hart, had the documentary crew and first talked about Shawn Michaels refusing to lose to him and how disrespectful it is. I don't want guys like CM Punk coming out and talking about other guys refusing to lose them. I understand there's an audience for it, especially on the internet, that they like all that behind the scenes stuff. I don't need to know everything that goes on behind the scenes. I don't want to hear about wrestler A refusing to lose to wrestler B. I know it's scripted. I know that stuff isn't real, but it doesn't mean that I need to hear all about it. I don't like CM Punk coming out and telling everything that's going on behind the scenes as far as picking winners and losers. I hate it.
CM Punk's a bad guy, I think. I think he's a bad person. I mean, I don't know him personally, so I don't know. But, man, this even goes back to, when the press conference where he buried Colt Cabana. You're talking about Colt Cabana sharing a bank account with his mom. And, why do you have to do this stuff?
Well, and I would also say Chris Jericho, calling Chris Jericho a stooge and whatever. To me, Chris Jericho represents everything great about pro wrestling. And I feel like anyone who is not aligned with Chris Jericho is not someone I want to be aligned with.
Yeah. And by the way, as much as I talk shit on Moxley, Moxley's great for pro wrestling too. I mean, Moxley's there. I mean, he shows up. He's there every week. He does crazy shit.
He's
People
legitimately
really like
bleeding every week for the company.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's there. And you know what? Moxley, I wouldn't be mad at Moxley for being why am I losing to this guy who hasn't been here in 7 years and people don't really like that much anymore? He isn't relevant. If it didn't make sense and Moxley's a top guy, it made sense. Punk.
Yeah, I don't like
I'm pretty over the Punk stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm.
All right, I got WrestleMania odds, and I don't even know how I'm going to call this big dirt or not big dirt, but I'm just going to read them to you, and you can react to them. So this was posted by Fightful, so I'm not sure what book they're using, but this is just the most recent odds they had. There's some interesting stuff. Cody is currently, as of like last night, minus 550. Cody to beat Roman Reigns. Huge favorite.
Huge favorite.
Rhea minus 1,000 to beat Charlotte.
Monster favorite.
Asuka, Bianca is basically a coin flip. Asuka's minus 100, Bianca's plus 100.
Bianca could retain.
Yeah. So right away, 3 title changes right there. Gunther minus 100 to retain. Sheamus plus 135, so kind of a coin flip, and then Drew's plus 500.
Yeah, that sounds right. Like I don't. Drew can win, but I do not see him winning. The other two, I do think it's a coin flip.
Theory minus 400 to beat Cena, which I don't think anyone's surprised about.
Right.
Sammy and KO minus 2,000.
Yeah, monster favorite. Monster. I don't know. What are the Usos?
Oh, I didn't even put it because
You didn't
they're
put
just
the dogs. That's okay. Because
I mean,
there could be
like
some money.
There's like plus 750, something like that.
Yeah, there could be some money to win there on the Usos.
I agree. I also think there's money to win on this next one. Logan Paul plus 275. Seth Rollins minus 450. I could see Logan Paul winning that match.
I mean, too. I don't think he will, but I could see it.
I think the company has plans for him, and he can't just keep having big matches and losing. He's got to win a big match eventually, right? So I could see it.
Yeah.
Also, some money here, not as much, but Edge minus 160, Finn plus 120.
I think Finn's going to win.
I think Finn wins that match.
Yeah, I think so too. Yep.
And then Brock's minus 1,500 to beat Omos. Which, by the way, there may be some money on that too.
There could be some money there. There could be for Omos.
Because there's a lot of stuff, and I didn't even put it.
I don't think Brock's a lock to win that match.
Well, and also there's a lot of rumors out there around the secrecy of what's next for Brock. Like, is he done? Like, is this it? I don't think this is his final match, but like, is he leaning towards?
Yeah, Omos could be the good play there.
Yeah. So there's some interesting ones. I don't know. I guess Big Dirt not.
Big Dirt. Okay. There's money to be made. That's Big Dirt.
All right. I got 2 more.
Yep.
So we wondered for a very long time, what is going on with Alexa Bliss?
Yeah.
We found out.
Yeah.
She's on The Masked Singer.
Yeah.
But she will be at WrestleMania. She said in an interview she'll be in the building. So I guess we don't know. Maybe she'll be. Maybe that's what I was alluding to earlier, where maybe one of the surprise tag teams involves Alexa Bliss. I don't know. But
I'm going not Big Dirt.
Not Big Dirt. That she was on Masked Singer.
I will never ever catch an episode of Masked Singer. I couldn't care less.
But it's Alexa Bliss on Masked Singer.
And I feel like when she took off her mask, does anyone there know who she is?
They made it seem like it because they are good at television.
Right.
But
and by the way, that's not a shot at Alexa Bliss. I love Alexa Bliss. I don't think people who are watching Masked Singer know who Alexa Bliss is.
But I've never watched like a full episode of the show, but I see the clips on social media, and I think that happens a lot. Because how many celebrities can actually sing?
Right.
So,
and what A-list celebrities are going to do that bullshit?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's such bullshit.
All right, last one. Well, I had KO and Sammy potentially still main eventing night 1 on here because that seems to be up in the air, but we already talked about that. So the last one is, it looks like Kyrie is officially a free agent. And she did an interview where she said she wants to go potentially back to the States.
Good.
And she named, as potential people she wants to fight, she named Shayna Baszler, Bayley, Io Sky, Saraya, Toni Storm, and Jamie Hayter.
Well, remember, Shayna Baszler, she owns Shayna Baszler in NXT, beat her twice. I think she was 2-0 against her. Yep. She was the only one who was ever able to beat Shayna Baszler.
Big Dirt, not a Big Dirt. First ever IWGP Women's Champion, Kyrie, potentially coming back to the U.S.
I go Big Dirt. I'm a big fan of Kyrie Sane. Did you, by the way, see at the World Baseball Classic here at Lone Depot Park, USA versus Japan, sitting right there up front, Kyrie Sane, Io Sky, and Akira Tozawa.
I didn't see that.
All sitting right up front there together, supporting Japan. They were very into it, the 3 of them.
That's cool.
How about that?
Yeah, I'll go Tozawa just had a child. Congratulations to him. I think I saw that.
Yeah, so Akira Tozawa, Io Sky, Kyrie Sane, they were very involved in Japan World Baseball Classic. Yeah, I'm going Big Dirt. I'm a big fan of Kyrie Sane. I'd love to see her again here.
Yeah, she's awesome. That's it. That's all I got.
Excellent. Fun show today. We're going to do another one in the middle, toward the end of the week. We will do a WrestleMania preview type show. We'll give official predictions and all that good stuff. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that stuff in regards to however you're listening to the program. And at Zaslow Show on Twitter, go vote in the Elite 8 for our It's Still Real to Me Ultimate WrestleMania Bracket Challenge. Those will be posted. You can begin voting tomorrow. Joey, tell all your fans you'll talk to them again next week. Go ahead.
We'll talk to you guys in the middle of the week. Make sure you vote. Look out for the brackets. And we'll see you for WrestleMania.
Great job, everyone. We'll see you next week.